Girls, yesterday's work, so I asked you to do page 177, 4, 5, 6, 7 and 8. Okay, so I'm on page 177 and I'm starting with number 4. Right, okay, the graph is drawn for you. Okay, so this is a cubic equation. They don't give us the equation, but we don't need it. We just need to answer the questions. Right, use a graph to write down the roots of the equation. So the roots of the equation f of x equals 0, guys, are where it crosses the x-axis. Right, so the roots of the equation there are, it crosses at x is 3, it crosses at x is 0, and it crosses at x, sorry, that's minus 3. X is minus 3, x is 0, and x is plus 3. So the 3 points where it crosses the x-axis are your answer there. Okay, so that's the root of the equation, and that's a question they're definitely going to be asked if you ask questions on a graph and you learn it off. The roots where f of x equals 0 means where it cuts the x-axis, where it crosses the x-axis. Now, part 2 asks me for the domain of which for f of x is positive. So positive is right above the x-axis, right? So positive means it's above the x-axis. So where my biro is, it's up from that, right? It's above that. So it's in 2 bits, right? From here to here, it's above the x-axis, isn't it? That bit there is above the x-axis, and this bit here is above the x-axis, isn't it? Right, so your answer is in 2 bits, right? So basically you just give the x values. So between, right, okay, and remember between will be in the question, right, that's between. So between minus 3 and 0, when x, so between this point here and this point here, it's above the x-axis, right? And there's a second bit of it, from here up it's going to be above the x-axis. They stopped drawing it there, but if they were to keep drawing it, it would still be above the x-axis. So when x gets bigger than 3, they're your answers, right? If you're not sure of these, guys, even if you colour in the bit of the graph, right, okay, whereas you can see that this bit is above the x-axis and this bit here is above the x-axis, even if you're not able to write it out, if you colour it in the graph, right, you will get a good share of marks. Right, part 3. The values of x for which f of x is a graph, the values of x for which the graph is positive and decreasing. Right, so decreasing means, right, when you go over it with your pen is coming down. Okay, so if I was to go over that with my pen would be coming down from here to here. So it's decreasing from that point up there to that point down there. Okay, so that's decreasing. But there's a second stipulation, girls, it's positive. So that means you're coming down, but you're above this line. So you're coming down, so this is decreasing, and it's positive because I'm above the x-axis. Right, I'm still decreasing, but I've now gone below the x-axis, so it's basically from here to here, it's positive and decreasing, so it's coming down and it's above the x-axis. So how you write that is between this point, which is minus 2, and this point here, which is 0. So between minus 2 and 0, it's positive and decreasing, sorry. Okay, right, and the next question, I didn't mean to do that. Right, the next question, girls, is give the coordinates of the maximum turning point. So remember, girls, the turning points are where you turn, you're going up, and I turn and I come down. I'm going down, and I turn and I come up. So this is a turning point, and this is a turning point. So the maximum turning point is 1 up high, so that here is halfway between minus 1 and minus 2, so I'd say minus 1.5, right, and it's the point, so you have to give the y coordinate as well, so it's across to minus 1.5 and it's up to 8, okay, and then part 5 says give me the minimum turning point, so the minimum turning point is down here, so it's halfway between 1 and 2, so that's 1.5 and it goes down to -8, right? And that's the end of question 4, right? Okay, next one is question 5. Okay, so question 5. Question 5 reads, again we have drawn for you, so they give you the equation of the graph. So it's a positive x cubed, so it's finishing on a high, right? Write down the roots of the equation, right? The roots of the equation, right, or where it crosses the x-axis. So it crosses at, when it crosses at -3, crosses here, which is -3. It crosses here, which is 0, and it crosses again here, which is 2. So it crosses at 3 points there. Okay? Then it says the coordinates of the minimum turning point. So the turning point is where it turns to go to the up and or go in the next direction. Minimum means the one that's, so the maximum is up there, the minimum is down here. So you have to give the coordinates of the point, so that's across 1 down to -4. Okay? Now, the values of x for which f of x is positive. So where is the graph positive? So remember, the positive, the x-axis decides above the x-axis is positive, below the x-axis is negative. So it's positive between this point here and this point here, and it's positive again from there on. Okay? So it's positive between, you just get the x values, so it's positive between -3 and 0, and it's positive from 2 up, so that's when x is greater than 2. That's from 2 up. Okay, so from here to here it's positive, and from here up it's positive. Okay, and part 4 reads, the values of x for which f of x is negative and decreasing. So that means negative means your pen has to be coming down. Decreasing means it's below the x-axis. So if you go, I'm increasing, I turn, decreasing, turn, increasing. So I'm decreasing in here, but you only want the bit that's negative. So negative means it's below the x-axis, so it's below this line. So you want to be coming down and below the x-axis. So I'm coming down, but I'm above the x-axis. Now when I get to here, I'm coming down, but I'm below the x-axis. So it's basically just from here to here, okay? So that's between 0 and 1. So it's between 0 and 1. And remember, the between, girls, will be written in the question for you. So this thing means between. Even if you wrote down between 0 and 1, write down the words if you need to, right? Okay? Right. Okay, that's number 5. Now, number 6 you had to draw it yourself. Okay, so number 6 gave me the table, right, and said fill in the values. Okay, so sorry, I'm going to leave that blown up a minute because I'm just going to do it on the calculator. So just to remind you how to do it on your calculator. So you press mode, right, and then you press 3, and you get f of x equals, okay, and then you type in, where's x cubed. So to get your x, it's over the closed bracket, so it's alpha and the closed bracket, and then the cube symbol, right? Then it's plus 2x squared, so plus 2, get your x in again, it's alpha and the closed bracket, and the squared symbol, right? Then it's minus 7x, minus, need this x again, alpha and the closed bracket, right? Minus 3 equals, don't mind, that won't come up in yours. The start, then you put it in as minus 4, so minus 4 is the start. The end is 3, so where do you get them? From the table. The first number in the table is minus 4. The last number in the table is, where is it? 3. So end is 3. It's always step 1, right? Okay, and then you press equals and your table comes up. So you end up with minus 4, minus 7, minus 3, 9, minus 2, 11, minus 1, 5, 0, minus 3, 1, minus 7, 2, minus 7, 3, 21. Sorry, you can't see that. No, you can't. Right, okay. So then you graph these. So these are your points. Okay. So you graph these. So you go and you draw your graph. Okay. Now I couldn't make my graph big enough to get the last point, but I'll deal with that in a minute. So the first thing is -4 down to -7, which would be here. Right. The next one is -3 and up to 9, which would be here. Right. -2 up to 11 will be here. -1 up to 5 is here. 0 -3 is here. 1 -7 is down to here. 2 -1 is here. Right. And 321 is way up there somewhere. Right. Okay. I couldn't make my graph big enough. Okay. So. Okay, so then you graph. Okay, so you're starting low, finishing high, because x cubed is positive. Okay, so, and it goes way off up there somewhere. Okay, so there's your graph. Okay, then you need to answer the questions on your graph. So it says the roots of the equation, right? So the roots are here, here, and here. Now they're not whole numbers, so you guess from your graph, well, estimate from your graph, okay? So part 1, so my graph says -3.9, I'll say, okay? Right, so -3.9, and the next one says -0.7, okay? And this one is about 2.2. So I get 3 answers. Now, your graphs will be slightly different to mine, so your answers are going to be slightly different to mine. But that's fine. It's whatever your graph says. So I have -3.9, -0.7, and 2.2. Right, your answers will all be in or around the same answers, okay? But it's whatever your graph says is the right answer. Okay? Then part 2. The domain of values of x for which f of x is decreasing. So it's just decreasing, there's only one condition. So when you were drawing the graph, where was your pen coming down? So I'm going up, 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 reach to here. Now I'm coming down. So I'm going down from there all the way down to here. So from there to there, I went down. Okay, and then I went up again. So there, so I have to give the x values. So this was -2. Right, so between -2 and 1, right, I was decreasing. So between is that symbol, -2 and 1. And if you can't remember that symbol, just say between -2 and 1. Okay? And the third point of that is the coordinate of the minimum turning point. So this is a turning point, and this is a turning point. The minimum one is 1 down low. So the coordinates of this are 1 -7. Okay, you used it to draw it. Okay, that was the end of number 6. Right, number 7 is next. So number 7, again, you have to draw, you have to get the coordinates, right? Okay, so again, mode 3, right, f of x equals, and then you put in 6x, so 6 alpha x, right, plus x squared, so that's plus alpha close bracket, and that'll get you the x, and then you put the little squared symbol on it. Then it's minus x to be cubed, so alpha and the close bracket and the little cube symbol, right? Okay, this is a negative x cubed, so that when you're negative you finish on a low, right? Okay, so your start is the first number in your table, which is -3. Oh dear, I'm actually doing that wrong now. Sorry, your start is -3, so put in a -3. Your end, enter it. Your end is the last number of the table, which is 4. It's always step 1, and then you get your points up. Okay, don't worry about what my thing, because I put in the wrong thing. But you should get out minus 3, 18, minus 2, 0, minus 1, minus 4, 0, 0, 1, 6, 2, 8, 3, 0, 4, minus 24. So off you go to your graph and you graph that, okay? So the first point was minus 3, 18, which is up here. The next one was minus 2, 0, which is on the x-axis. Minus 1, minus 4 is down to here. 0, 0 is here. 1, 6 is here. 2, 8 is here. 3, 0, and 4 minus 24 is way off down here. Okay, again, I didn't make my graph big enough to fit it in, but you've plenty of papers, so you'll be able to do it. Okay, so you go down and you turn and up and turn and way down forever. Okay, and please note it was a negative x cubed, so we finished on a low. So it's handy to know what you're going to draw before you draw it. Okay, then answering the questions. So draw a graph of the function, just did it. How is the graph different than the graphs we had drawn first? So far it's negative x cubed, so it finished on a low. Write down the roots of the equation. The roots of the equation are where it crosses the x-axis. So it crosses at minus 2, it crossed at 0, and it crossed at 3. So the roots of the equation, guys, and please note that's that every single time. And if this comes up in your leaving cert, they'll ask you that. They always do. Right, part 4. Use your graph to estimate the coordinates of the minimum turning point. So the minimum turning point is where you turned. This is the turning point, this is the turning point. It's the one down low. So this one is the lowest down, so that turning point is cross to minus 1 down to 4. Sorry, minus 4. Okay, so it's minus 1, minus 4. Okay, for what values of x is y negative and decreasing? So y is just the graph. So what values of x is y negative and decreasing? So remember, negative means below the x-axis. Decreasing means you're moving down. Okay, so we're going down, but I'm above the x-axis. Then I get to here, I'm going down again, and I'm below the x-axis. So there's two parts actually. So it's between minus 2 and minus 1. I was down, going down below the x-axis. So now I'm going up, so this doesn't matter. I'm going up, this doesn't matter. I'm coming down again, but it's above the x-axis. But from here on, I'm going down and I'm below the x-axis. So there's two parts. X is greater than 3. So basically, from here to here, I'm going down and I'm below the x-axis. And from here on, I'm going down and I'm below the x-axis. Okay, so negative and decreasing. Again, if you're not able to write it out, if you colored in the graph, you'll get most of the marks. Okay, right, and then I asked you to do number 8. So, why not? I see that's not number 8. Number 8 is here. So again, into your calculator. Okay, you put in your, so you go mode and 3 to get up your f of x equals, and then you're typing in minus 2x cubed, so minus 2 alpha x cubed, right, plus 3x squared plus 3 alpha x, and the little squared symbol, right, plus 5x plus 5 alpha in the closed bracket, and then it's minus 6 equals. Your start is your first number in the table, which is minus 2. Your start is minus 2. Your end is the last number in the table, which is 3. And it's always step 1, and you get up your values then. So you get up minus 2, 12, minus 1, minus 6, 0, minus 6, 1, 0, 2, 0, and 3 minus 18. And this was a negative x cubed again, girls, so we'll be finishing on a low, right? So when we're drawing this, okay, so we're going minus 2, 12, across to minus 2, up to 12. Minus 1, minus 6, right? 0, minus 6. 1, 0, 2, 0, and 3 minus 18 is off down here, okay? Now, please note these points are level, so you don't go, right, okay, you make sure you curve them, okay, because you're drawing a curve, not this sort of a shape. So, down we go, right, down to that one, and curve it around, right, okay, and curve it around again, and go off down then, right, okay, so make sure you curve these. Now, it depends on how you draw it, you could curve it quite low, or you could curve it just a little bit, okay, it's up to yourself how you curve it, okay, right. Then the questions, again, they ask me the roots, they'll always ask you the roots. The roots are where it crosses the x-axis, right, okay. So I'm crossing at, now that's fierce crooked there, so I might just, more like that, okay. So I'm crossing here, so it's somewhere between -1 and -2, so will I say -1.4. Again, it's whatever your graph said, right, okay, and it crosses at 1, and it crosses at 2, okay? So the roots are where it crosses the x-axis, right? Now you won't have -1.4, you'll have whatever your graph says, okay? But it shouldn't be too far off. The coordinates of the maximum turning point. So the maximum turning point, this is a turning point, and this is a turning point, okay? So the maximum turning point is the one that's up high. Now, we had to curve it, so it's halfway between 1 and 2, so I'd say it's 1.5, and it probably went up as far as 0.9, okay? Again, estimate that, so whatever your graph says, that's what your answer is. So, because some people might have went up a bit further, some people mightn't have went up as far, so whatever your graph says, that's the right answer, okay? Now, part 3 says the values of x for which f of x is greater than 0. That's another way of saying greater than 0. That's another way of saying where is it positive. And remember, positive is where is it above the x-axis. So here's the x-axis. So it's above the x-axis from here to here. Okay, that bit there. And it's above the x-axis between these two parts. Okay, everywhere else it's below the x-axis. So it's in 2 bits, so your answer is in 2 bits. So when x is less than whatever that value is, -1.4, so from that value back, it's up there, right? And then between 1 and 2, it's also above the x-axis, okay? And part 3, the values of x less than 0, so you want x to be negative, right? So your answers are going to be negative, for which f of x is negative and decreasing. So you want the graph to be negative, going down and decreasing. So I'm decreasing, then I'm going up, then I'm decreasing again. So I'm decreasing from here, and x is negative, right, from here to here. So I'm decreasing from there to there, right, okay, and then over here x is positive. So basically I don't want you to worry about this question because there's a bit too much in it, but it's between when x is between -1.4 and x is probably between -0.5, okay? So between here and here, it's x is negative and the graph is negative and decreasing. Okay, so there was 3 conditions there. X had to be negative, right? So here, this is not part of the answer. It normally would be, but x is positive, so that's why it's ruled out. But again, there's 3 parts of that question, and don't worry about it. Okay? Again, colour in the bits in the graph if you can't answer the question. So that was yesterday's work. Okay?